you, Cassie, for joining today. And could you please introduce yourself?
My name is Cassie Timotheo. I have a background in psychology, where my interest over the years has always been about the psychology of learning. And now, what has become very interesting is the social and emotional learning that is happening. And this is, I think, what I'd like to share today with you, um, because before, with this model is introducing an alternative to reward and punishment. Many people have said, but okay, if I get rid of the punishments and I get rid of the rewards, what have I got left? And this new approach is showing that there is something much deeper that we can use. What I'm sharing with you is called the zones of regulation. It's a concept that was developed by Leah Kuypers in the UK. She has created this book, and in this book, it's a book for teachers, but in this book, there are a lot of tools that the parents and adults can use to work with children along this new idea. Now, the idea is, when we used to use a behavior model, in other words, where we were looking at the behavior of a child, and the thinking we do is, how do I control the behavior of the child? I hear so many parents saying, how do I make my child go to bed? How do I make my child eat their vegetables? This approach is that the zones of regulation hands over to the child his self-awareness and his ability to regulate his own emotions. And that means that we're not using bad behavior anymore as things of adult control. We're using them as opportunities to give the child increased awareness of his emotions and of the fact that he has choices in the way in which he responds to situation. So I'll start with, this is the basic template of the zones of regulation, and the important word is regulation. Before that is the awareness. So the template itself brings the awareness. There are 4 zones: the blue zone, the green zone, the yellow zone, and the red zone, where the idea is no zone, this is very important, no zone is good or bad. This is the important thing. All zones are things that we go through them every day, we all go through them. The trick is to be aware that the zone in which I make the best choices is when I'm in the green zone. When I'm in the green zone, this is, you can see the pictures that indicate the different feelings. So we're giving the children a vocabulary of feelings because that already helps the awareness. And the older your child, the more you can move from happy into content, into delighted, into different variances of that. So in the green zone, I'm feeling happy, or I can be feeling calm, or feeling okay, or feeling focused, or just ready to learn. Doesn't matter, I'm in a place emotionally where I'm very grounded and I can think clearly and make decisions with friends as well, in conversations, with work that I'm doing, if I'm playing the piano or I'm doing something important. I can also go into the blue zone. The blue zone is the vocabulary around that is that we have here is, I can be feeling sad, I can be feeling sick or tired or bored. Actually, it's just a zone in which I am moving slowly, and it doesn't need to be, I'm feeling bad. When I wake up in the morning, I'm definitely in the blue zone, and I like being in the blue zone. I really enjoy that chill feeling. However, when I start going to work, or when I start needing to get my day together, staying in the blue zone is not going to give myself the best of myself. So I will find ways to move into the green zone. And the zones book does describe how we move, how we can get ourselves to move from one to the other. We can also move into the yellow zone. And the yellow zone, again, different facial expressions. We'll look at that later. The idea is now I'm being a little bit less self-regulated because I'm maybe feeling frustrated about something, or maybe I'm worried about something, or maybe I'm just feeling silly and wiggly and I'm sitting in the class and I need to fidget with something, or I'm bored and I'm so a little bit hyperactive. I can be excited because it's going to be my birthday tomorrow. I'm going to get a puppy, or I'm going to have a sleepover. So my level of regulation is just a little bit out of sync, but I'm okay. I can still make good choices. So the essential thing is, you see right at the bottom here, I have loss of some control, my control. This is the difference with a behaviorist approach. The behaviorist approach is control of other people on me. So that when I'm being controlled, they will give me the reward, take the reward away. I have no incentive to want to have good behavior. Why should I? I just want the sweets. I can, again, the zones of regulation book shows us how we can take ourselves back to the green zone when we want to make a serious decision, when we want to be calmed down and be fully regulated. But we can quite happily live in the gray, yellow zone. Personally, myself, I live in blue, green, and yellow all day long, in and out all the time. What's interesting is now if I shift from my yellow zone into the red zone, where I'm feeling frustrated, but the intensity now has increased and I'm feeling mad and angry. I was worried, but now I'm terrified. I was worried about a test that I'm going to have at school, and now I'm absolutely terrified of it. Where I was just being silly and wiggly, and now I'm starting to yell and hit. I was excited, and now I'm elated. I'm so happy that I'm actually losing touch with my common sense. Here, I'm out of control. The important thing, this is what I love about this, is it's not bad to be angry. This embraces the intense emotion. Just be aware that when I'm in that red zone, I'm not going to make very good decisions at all. Let's move on now to see a little bit closer if you purchase the book, or if you go on their website, or if you look at pictures, images on Google Images, these are all there under zones of regulation. So this is where we develop the development of vocabulary under the different zones. So we move from just being sad or hurt, we go to depressed, we go to tired, exhausted, and also we teach the facial expressions that go with it. We teach the child to look at my face. How can you read my face now? And we also say to the child, I'm reading your face now, and I can see that you are you feeling depressed? And we're not diagnosing. We never diagnose in a zone of regulation. We're asking because we want the child to develop awareness of themselves. So in the green zone, some more nice vocabulary. I'm feeling appreciated, proud, thankful. I'm feeling like I'm a good listener. I'm ready to learn. I'm feeling relaxed. In the yellow zone, some more. I'm feeling anxious and worried. I'm feeling overwhelmed, jealous. And you see, again, these are jealousy. Things like jealousy have such a negative connotation, but it's okay to be jealous. I just need to be aware of it and then decide on the actions that I'm taking to deal with that. Red, I can feel mean, mad, I'm yelling, I'm feeling angry, I'm out of control. And on the bottom of the sheets, you can, with your child, have fun. You can get photographs from magazines and stick them there and just really collect different facial expressions, body language around feelings. Have you got a question, Kate, that you'd like to put at this point?
I think at this point, I wanted to ask, how do parents use it in a practical way? Like, do they help children to basically, the main goal here is start to develop this vocabulary and awareness of the feelings and being able to recall those feelings when they appear? What is the main focus for the parent here?
The main focus for the parent at this stage, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
because we're going to move on to other stages, is to use the opportunity of situations to give the child the vocabulary to explain what's going on for him. If it's a very little child of 2, 3 years old, then you're asking questions. Are you feeling angry? Are you feeling mad? Are you feeling aggressive? But as they get older, you can encourage them to be using that vocabulary and to read facial language. We'll see how that actually helps the regulation of behavior. I think that's what you're asking me. This is the tools. One moment, let it come back again. Okay, so when I'm in a zone that I want to come out of because I want to be able to come back down to my green zone, these are the different things that I can do to help myself come back down again. And we will be looking in a little while at the different types of tools. So for example, I can go away and read a book. I can go and jump on a trampoline. I can push something. The jumping and the pushing is the sensory calming. We're using our sensory system in order to bring ourselves back down to the green level so that we can now, because actually what that does is when we're in the red level, we're flying around in our heads, completely disconnected to ourselves, and just sensorily coming back by pushing something or going for a run or swinging allows us to decompress and slowly come back to the green zone. There are others. We'll look at them in a minute in more closely. There are the cognitive ways. So in other words, the kind of thinking that I'm doing. I can talk to an adult. Squishes are sensory. So buying fidgets as well. So like I'm feeling really, really agitated. Let's use a squidgy. A simple shoulder rub. We're going to look at these, the belly breath, the lazy breathing, the 6 sides of breathing. These are very important as well. We will be looking also at the inner coach. Another fidget ball, another one is another like a squidgy. It's a sensory thing. Very nice here in the zones of regulation, but I don't have it on this PowerPoint, are the size of the problem. How big is my problem? Is it a little problem? Is it a middle-sized problem? Is it a huge problem? What about my reaction? Is my reaction matching the size of the problem? This is really very clever to use with a child. You know, okay, you're really freaking out here, so let's look at it. Is the problem really dramatic? Is it the same as, I don't know, when your dog died last week? No, it's not, right? It's just a little problem. So let's bring the emotions down to the green, to the little problem and deal with it like that. A beautiful one that I like is the inner coach, and that is teaching. This is more for older children, but we can teach that even to the younger ones. It's the kind of talk that I have with myself when I'm in a difficult situation. So I can have an inner coach that talks to me very positively. I teach myself to talk. I can do this. I really want to do this. I promised my mom I would do it, and I'm going to make it happen. I'm big enough. I'm strong enough. I'm smart enough. And if I just get myself there, I'm okay. I will be okay. So I will give you these handouts, yeah, on the PowerPoint. And this is, you can use these. These are used in schools as for writing, but you can just have a conversation around these topics. Yeah. So the difficult times, I may need my inner coach just to talk about these situations in the car, you know, when you're going to school or on the beach, or a 2-minute conversation. This is very, very powerful. This is the thinking. It's our mindset. It's our growth mindset, as opposed to our inner critic. And this is where we can model to our children. If a child can say, oh, I'm no good at school, I'm always bottom of the class, I'm waste of space, nobody likes me. That is the child that has really moved into developing an inner critic. And we actually don't help very much by saying, no, that's not true, because then the child will just reinforce that. So if we just shift away from that and move to the inner coach and model how you speak to yourself when you're in a difficult situation, and talk to the child in a positive way, that will also help the child. And remember, what we're talking about is we're moving across the zones. When I want to be back in the green zone, these are tools I can use. I might want to stay in the yellow zone right now. I might want to stay in the blue zone. If it's the weekend, I'm quite happy staying in the blue zone and just watching TV all day. That's fine. The breathing, the breathing is extremely important, because when we're in a yellow or definitely a red zone or in a blue zone, what is actually happening is our um, our whole body is, I'm going to go with the red zone, for example. So when I'm very, 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 very angry, my heart is pumping really hard. My blood is racing around. My breathing is going really, really fast. My intestines, my stomach are tightening up. If I'm scared, my stomach is squeezing up. All these are parts of our body that we can't control. The one we can control to a certain extent is our breathing. So basically, the breathing is the way in to the rest of these organs that are going nuts. I always breathe in through my nose, because that's where the oxygen can go straight into our blood system. I hold the breath, and then I breathe out through the mouth. And I do that again. I breathe in through the nose, hold, and out to the mouth. Breathing into the count of 6 is good. If it's a child that can't, they're not ready to do it, you start off with just 2 maybe. The important thing with the breathing exercises, do not try to teach it in the moment of crisis. Because if we do that, then what actually happens is the person starts associating crisis with breathing. You want the breathing to be an everyday thing. So teach it every morning. Just let's start 2-minute breathing right now, and become aware of how it feels and increase it. And then say, oh, wow, I'm moving now into the yellow zone. I really need to be focused here. Let me do the 6 sides. And I model, 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 model. Everything is modeling. And then the child will copy. I really love this. And it is, again, it's a calming thing, but more a sensory thing. So on this one, I am in the red zone, for example. If I'm in the red zone, I will do this 5 times till I get back to green. If I'm in the yellow zone, I may only need to do it twice. Quite clever to do that. Yeah, so when this happens, the calming, it's written here, the instructions are here. The calming sequence goes like this. Close your eyes and rub your head, and then rub your legs. So you do that once. If you're in the red zone, you're going to do it a second time, and a third time, and a fourth time, and a fifth time. But if you're in the yellow zone, then it's okay. By the time you've done it 3 times, you come back down again. And here you're feeling great. Again, training this outside crisis moments. I have tried to do it with children who, also children who have high anxiety. Yeah, this is very good for high anxiety, but not in the moment of the anxiety intensity. Always as a training, just like training a sport, you won't practice a new move on a tennis court in a competition. You will train it up. The trick here is to first, for quite a long while, describe yourself when so say to the family, oh, I'm really feeling in the green zone right now. The sky is absolutely beautiful. The sea's looking gorgeous. I slept really well. So I'm modeling the vocabulary and describing the sensations that are going on for me. So I'm just modeling that. Then I can go into the yellow zone, or I can be in the red zone, and I burnt the food again, and now we're going to have to eat boiled potatoes. I'm feeling so angry. I'm definitely in the red zone. In fact, I'm so out of control. I think I'm going to start squeezing my fists. And you start modeling that. Where zones will not work, definitely not work. And the people who trained, they went all the way around the world training people on this. And then they went back the following year. And they said the schools in which it didn't work is when the adult used the zones to blame the children. So guys, you've put me in the red zone. Look how bad you are. Because of you, I'm in the red zone. And that almost entitles me to be horrible to you. We don't want to model that kind of thing. And if we do that, then the child is going to, we're going to go back into the guilt thing, the guilt and the shame and the, and all these negative emotions, which are just going to block the child. Sometimes, if you think about it, when I'm really in the red zone, to be able to be self-connected enough to do the breathing already requires a certain level of self-regulation. And that's why I really love what the zone suggests is it can be just a massage. And often when your child's really throwing a tantrum, all you need to do is not talk. There's no point in discussing it in that moment or giving a whole bunch of arguments about it. Just hold the child and give, depending on the child. Some children love being stroked. Some kids hate it. Some people need the deeper pressure that's sensory. Some of them, they'd like their special blanket because that's also a sensory thing. You know your child, and the trick is to teach your child to recognize, so now I'm in the yellow zone, holding my blanket really helped me get down to the green. It gives the child self-control, it gives the child autonomy, and that's so good for self-confidence. Whereas the child who is regulated by reward and punishment is very scared because they're aware that unless there's somebody around giving me reward and punishment, I can't self-regulate. And this is what I really, really love about the zones. Here is, see, tracking my tools, the different things that I'm discovering that I can do that help, that work. So for example, I can find that having a cup of coffee at 7 o'clock in the morning really helps. But if I have it at 10 o'clock at night, it's not going to help. Going for a run, just collecting my little treasure chest of things that when I'm in a zone that I know is not going to, I'm not going to get what I want, then I can use these things to get me back into the yellow zone. And it gives a huge sense of autonomy and of calm, really, to know that I'm not going to be lost on that playground when somebody annoys me. There's so many children who say, "Baby, he hit me, he hit me. So what did you expect? I hit him back." Use the zones. You hit him back because you stayed in the red zone. You made a choice while you were in the red zone. It's going to be a lousy choice, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, I interrupted you, Kate.
Yeah, I wanted to ask, how do parents could help to make this sort of chest of treasures for a child? So is it a good thing to have a conversation about this, or just reflect together on what worked, what didn't work? Because I think there should be some, maybe not a help, but co-working, co-creation around the tools that really work and do not work.
Okay, I like that. Yeah, definitely. I think conversation is extremely important. And I would say, I would also add the proactive conversation before, conversation in a crisis is, we know, just doesn't help. So conversations in informal situations around a meal, I would say to put up the zones. Children will be curious, they're fascinated. I have one in my office at school. They come into my office and their eyes are glued on it. And I cannot have any other conversation until I say to them, "Would you like to know what that picture is about?" And they say yes. And I hold their attention 10 minutes without any problem at all. So yeah, to describe it, depending on the age of the child, how long you want to do that. And then basically it really is modeling it, using opportunities, modeling it all the time. And then, yeah, having a family powwow and say, well, let's share a brainstorm here, the tools that I found work for me. And also, I noticed, Joe, that when you threw your tantrum the other day because your Lego broke, I really noticed that when you you went and took your baby bottle and sucked on the water there, that really, really helped you come back down, just as good as any breathing. So, maybe for now, that's a really good one to help you get back into green. And then you can move the conversations. Did you notice that when we were both in the red, our conversation was so ugly? You said things you didn't mean. I said things I didn't mean. I got impatient. I locked you in your room. I said, "You're grounded." Took away your phone. I'd like us to be able to be so aware of when we're heading into the red zone that we give each other space and say, let's come back again when we're both in the green.
Yeah, love it. Love it.
And I think, we're born with this. Truly and honestly, we're born to know this. Children know it in their hearts. We've just forgotten as adults because we've been brought up with punishment and reward.
Mm.
We really have. And we've lost, and we've been told, you know, punish them, control them. You're a bad parent if your child's misbehaving. It's you. You haven't managed your child very well. Just give
Yeah.
them that awareness. It's learning. It's social and emotional learning.
And I love that
Okay, yeah.
it's holistic in terms of like it actually involves the whole family, because you could not sort of talk about this concept with your child if you are not practicing it yourself with your partner, with your extended family, each day, basically.
So yeah, it's a systemic approach, and I really like systemic approach because we are, as human beings, we're social beings. We are constantly interacting with each other, and that's what I like about this approach is it doesn't put the whole onus on the individual child. You are naughty, you are good, and I am the one who is controlling that. No, it's an embracement of our humanity, and that helps us feel okay about ourselves. It really does. So here's a little example here of scenarios where you can talk about, you can cut these out and have cards, make your own, and talk about, okay, so what zone do you think you're in when this is, you're participating, for example, in the class discussion. When you're participating in the class discussion, how, what feelings are coming up for you, what zone are you up in. For me, when I have to participate, I'm always definitely in the yellow bordering on red. I start feeling anxious. I'm scared that what I'm going to say is going to be stupid. I'm going to forget what I wanted to say. And just things like this actually bring a conversation again, of awareness. The child's in the class and maybe is experiencing all this, but it isn't aware. A, that that's what's happening, and B, that putting it into words and understanding. And so, okay, so, wow, that sounds like when you're in the red zone like that, you're also blocked and you can't think logically of what you're going to say. Yeah, that's how it is. I completely freeze. Okay, so what kind of things work to get you, where do you want to be, in the yellow zone, the green zone? And hand that over to the child to do that thinking. So when they're in the classroom or in a difficult situation, they have the confidence to know they have the resources. When we give too much advice, the advice comes from us and they'll take the advice, but if that advice doesn't work, they don't have any other resource. And that's really scary, especially children who are experiencing being in bullying situation. So mommy said that if Bob comes up to me and bullies me again, I should walk away and go and tell a teacher. So I walk away and tell a teacher. The teacher then comes back and tells Bob off. Bob gives me really dirty looks. And the minute the teacher goes away, he calls me a name. I'm stuck. I'm stuck. Because I didn't do any thinking about this myself. I took somebody else's ideas and somebody else who's not in my situation. Often children who are bullied, and I actually don't like the word bullied because it does create a very fixed mindset. But children who are in that situation, the victim role, they actually feel they have no choices at all. And that's why they are very easy targets. But when you can train the thinking that, okay, this is a situation you're not liking. This girl is being really mean. She's saying that she's laughing at you on the track, on the running track, and saying you can't run. Ha ha ha! You can't run. You can't run. Okay, stop. What are your choices? What do you want out of this situation? And if you can't think right now, take it home, discuss it with your mom. Help another person is a huge resource to help me start thinking. And go back in and try it out. Try it out. If that doesn't work, come back again. There are other choices. Some will work, some won't. And again, it's the treasure chest of things that work.
Yeah. I truly love the idea of not giving the advice and just explore together the options. So when the child is in the situation, they can feel more autonomous and more free to act because they already put some thinking there. That's beautiful.
And that's why I really love that expression, social and emotional learning. It's learning. I am helping my child to learn, to
Mhm.
go out there, to observe, to notice that playground, to notice how other children are handling it, to notice myself. All the time I'm learning about, and how am I responding to that, my emotions about that, what actions am I taking, what are other kids doing, kids. So I look around, and kids that are not popular, what is it they're doing that makes people not want to be with them? And what about the ones who always seem content and have lots of people around them? What are they doing? That is a choice that I can also have. That's the beauty of it, is I have so much choice, and I really, really do.
Once you are in the punishment rewarding mode as a parent already, let's imagine somebody is already there and they watched our webinar and they thought, okay, I really want to try out, right? I want to go into the other type of conversation. uh, what would be their first steps, from your experience, or maybe from the experience of other parents and families you observed, trying to make this shift from already sort of making timeouts, for example, for their kids, or taking their devices, or whatever the punishment is?
Mm, mm. So, where the difficulty is that I'm hearing you describe, and it feels so familiar, is that the child is already in the habit. The family has already created a habit. Is that X behavior is going to lead to Y punishment. And so the child is actually in this pattern where they will learn to hide what they're doing to avoid the punishment, or they will be getting very, very anxious because they know that they're heading towards that moment when mom's going to come down and that's going to be gone. And in the end, a lot of the kids who are very punished, they end up saying, well, I don't care. You've taken away my devices so many times, I don't die. I find other things to do. So I don't really care about the punishment. So it's this, the mindset, the family mindset is there. Uh, and it will take time depending on the age of the child. So let's say you've got a 11-year-old who has been in that power struggle and learned how to do his best to be the winner of the power struggle. You're going to have to unlearn that. The way I would do it is, again, a conversation, is I would say, listen, I really don't like it, and be honest and transparent. I really don't like it when I see you behaving in certain ways, and the only resources I've had so far is to take away your devices. This is a system that is giving you more control over what you're doing, and taking me out of the picture. So, can we have a go and see if that can work? So explain that it will not happen overnight. The child's 11 years old. It may take another 11 years. I don't think so, but 11 months, let's go. Let's say another 11 months for the child to unlearn that another person is going to be in charge of their actions.
Mm.
That's going to take some time. Building trust, and acknowledging, okay, I was hoping that you could go into the green zone on your own. I'm really worried about your exams that are coming up next week. They're GCSEs. I'm sorry, I'm going to take away those devices. So you're going to have a little bit of both for a while. But I think it's important to acknowledge that you don't really want to do it that way. But me as a parent, when I see that you're finding it difficult to move across the zones, then I will do it for you until you can stand on your own feet and be doing it yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Because
Mm-hmm.
that's what we want in the end.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you very much, Kathy. That was so insightful, really. I enjoyed it myself, and I see how, you know, easy, at the same time quite difficult and challenging to implement it, even for my life, for my personal life, being as a parent. It's not something, so I have to unlearn myself doing some things as a first step, I think.
It's quite scary to let go of the power. It's quite, I remember a teacher said to me, Kathy, what are you talking about? You're telling me I'm going to walk into my class and have no power? Are you crazy? Yeah, it takes a real building of the children's mindset that power is not of the essence here.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Mm.
yeah.
So thank you very much for your time and for the introduction of this part of social emotional learning. And it's very, very insightful. Thank you.
You're welcome. I've enjoyed talking to you.